We're going to take a walk around the tabs and menus of Visual Studio Code and look at some of the most important entries. Let's start with the tabs that are on the left. The first tab is the Explorer, and by clicking on the Explorer, you can see what files you have open and what files are in the folder you have open. I'm going to use my code folder, so let's say Open Folder, and we'll go to Code. Let's organize that so I can see it. You can see there are quite a number of files, and I'll click Open, and all those files show up here in my list of files. Now you'll notice that I'm only seeing the TypeScript files. You may have noticed that there are also JavaScript files, and I've hidden those, and we'll talk about how I did that when we get to the user preferences. So that's our first item on the tab, the Explorer. If I click it again, it disappears. Click it once more and it comes back. And it tells me which ones are open in the editor and which ones are also in the folder. The second item in the tabs is Search. Search is very, very powerful. You can use it to find strings in any of your files. For example, I can type the word value and hit enter, and it shows me the different files that have that word in them, and I can in fact click on one of those and be taken directly to where it's being used. The third item in our tabs is Source Control, and this is where Visual Studio Code can be integrated with whatever source control you're using. And you can see that Git is already here and set up, and you can initialize the Git repository right here in Visual Studio Code. The fourth item is the debug item, and this gives you a great deal of debugging right within Visual Studio Code and can be very valuable for running programs within Visual Studio Code once you've got that set up, and then putting in breakpoints, watch statements, and so forth. Finally, we have extensions. This is an extremely powerful concept. These are extensions to Visual Studio Code itself. It shows me what extensions I already have installed, and I can search for extensions in the marketplace. Don't let that term marketplace confuse you. Almost all of these are free. If I put in PRET, it's going to bring up anything that begins with that, and I know that there's a number of prettier utilities that can be added for making your code look nicer. I'm already using Prettier, have that installed, but I can go to the gear, and here I can disable it or uninstall it. I can also install other options as well. So that's what we have in the tabs. Next, we'll take a look at what we have in the menus.